A massive explosion lights up the night sky. A shockwave ripples across the ground. Fire rises into the air, visible from miles away. This is not just another strike. This is a direct hit on one of Iran's key military assets, an ammunition depot. According to multiple reports, powerful bunker buster bombs were used in the strike, triggering a chain reaction of explosions inside the facility. The target was not random. It was part of Iran's military infrastructure, a site believed to store missiles, weapons, and critical supplies. And when those supplies ignite, the result is devastating. Explosions inside an ammunition depot are different from normal blasts. They don't happen once. They happen repeatedly. One detonation triggers another, and another, until the entire complex becomes unstable. That's exactly what appears to have happened here. A sustained series of explosions, turning the facility into a firestorm. But this strike is not just about damage, it's about timing, because it came just hours after a major political statement. Following an address by Donald Trump, tensions escalated sharply. Trump warned that further action could be taken against Iran, including potential strikes on critical infrastructure. Iran's response was immediate and direct. Its military issued a warning. The war will continue until the enemies surrender. And more importantly, future attacks will be crushing and more destructive. This is not just rhetoric. This is escalation language. Because when a country uses terms like crushing response, it signals something specific, an intention to go beyond current levels of force, to expand targeting, to increase impact. And in the context of this war, that could mean several things. More missile strikes, more drone attacks, wider regional targeting, energy infrastructure, military bases, shipping routes. We've already seen signs of this expansion. Strikes across Israel, attacks on Gulf energy facilities, tensions in the Strait of Hormuz. This explosion at the ammunition depot fits into a larger pattern, a systematic effort to degrade Iran's military capability. Ammunition depots are high-value targets. They store the weapons needed for sustained operations, missiles, rocket systems, munitions. Destroying them does not just create immediate damage, it limits future capability. Fewer missiles available, fewer strikes possible, reduced operational tempo. That is why they are targeted early and repeatedly in modern warfare. But there is another side to this, because strikes like this also create pressure, internal pressure, political pressure, and strategic pressure. Iran is now facing a critical decision: how to respond. If the response is limited, the pressure continues. More strikes, more damage. If the response escalates, the conflict expands, and that expansion could go far beyond current battle lines. The global impact is already visible. Oil prices are rising. Shipping routes are disrupted. Markets are unstable. Because every escalation in this conflict affects energy, and energy affects everything: transportation, food, electricity. This is no longer just a regional war. It is becoming a global economic event. And this explosion may mark another turning point. There is also a psychological dimension. Large explosions like this send a message, not just to governments, but to populations. They show vulnerability. They show reach. They show that even heavily protected sites can be hit. And that message travels fast, across social media, across news networks, across borders. For military planners, this is about capability. For political leaders, it is about signaling. And for the world, it is about risk. Because every escalation increases uncertainty, and uncertainty drives instability. Right now, Iran is signaling that it will not back down, that it will continue fighting, and that future responses will be stronger. At the same time, the strikes on its infrastructure are intensifying. This creates a cycle: strike, response, escalation. A cycle that becomes harder to break with each step. The explosion at the ammunition depot is not just an isolated event. It is part of that cycle. A moment that shows both sides are still willing and able to escalate. And that raises the most important question. What happens next? Will this trigger a larger retaliation? Will it lead to broader regional attacks? Or will it push both sides toward de-escalation? Right now, there is no clear answer. But one thing is certain. The scale of this explosion and the response that followed have pushed this conflict into a more dangerous phase. Because when ammunition depots explode and governments promise crushing retaliation, it means the war is not slowing down. It's accelerating.